Howdy. So I have a lot of video ideas, but I'm too lazy to do any of them, if I'm to be honest. So I decided to just do something different, do something that involves very little editing. Um, and that idea is to just go through my Letterboxd account and writing a review for every single movie that I've rated. That is about 60 movies, almost 70. So as I was doing the recording, I didn't quite come up with the idea of like, oh, this is a video that you could just listen to in the background. You don't have to necessarily watch it, because if you watch it, it's going to be a very boring video, which is why I'm putting gameplay in the background. I hope you enjoy that. But I also just didn't think about it at the time. So there will be some things where I'm writing out the review and I don't say what I'm writing. So that's like the only thing that makes it not friendly to just turn off the screen or, have it in your pocket or go on another tab. That's like the only reason, is that I didn't read the reviews that I was writing. But that's okay, because right before I write the reviews, I talk about my thoughts on the movies. And yeah, so basically what I talk about what I write in the reviews is basically what I talk about right before I write the review. So if you want to just do something else, just do the dishes, do your laundry, play a game, do something. Because if I'm to be honest, this is going to be very boring to watch, but I hope it's interesting to listen to. So yeah, without further ado, here's my Letterboxd. So really what I wanted to do is I wanted to go through each movie and write a review where there hasn't been one, and go in more depth as to why I thought the movie was good. So let's start at the very bottom with Past Lives. Past Lives is a movie that I watched for my East Asian Humanities class in college. I did not like it, as you could tell from my 1.5 star rating. I did not review it. Not yet, at least. Past Lives is a K-drama about, the main character moving to America and basically adapting to American culture, where her best friend, who is male, was left in Korea. He lived in Korea. So she's in America, he's in Korea, and he has been looking for her all this time. And finally, he finds her Facebook, I believe it is. Shows the age of the movie. And so they just basically hit it off, and they start a long distance relationship essentially. And after a certain point, she needs a break. And I should have said that there will be spoilers for this. I'll put it in post. Anyways, she decides she needs a break, and then she starts a serious committed with relationship with an American. And then the Korean man goes to America to basically meet with her to catch up on things. And the scene where the two Koreans and then the American husband, because he's the husband at this point, they're in a bar, and then she and the Korean man are just talking and talking. It's a very awkward scene. I did not watch this on the 30th of June. What are you talking about? Anyways, yeah, it's just kind of an awkward scene where the husband just seems like the third wheel. It does end in what I think is a pretty interesting scene that can be interpreted in many ways, where she calls an Uber for the Korean, and I don't remember their names. It was a long time, and when I watch a movie where I don't really care for I don't really care for the movie, I tend to forget names quite a lot. So yeah. What happens is he gets in the Uber and he exits to the left of the screen, where she is left to walk to the right of the screen. Now, what I've heard is, okay, so in American culture, this is kind of cool. In American culture, what my teacher said is that we view progress to the future as going to the right, but Koreans see progress to the future as going to the left. I don't know exactly why that is. Could deal with the writing systems, because I know Korean is inspired from, at least the writing system used to be inspired by the Chinese writing system, which goes top down, right to left. Or at least that's how Japanese does it for sure. I can't really remember. I'm pretty sure Chinese does the same thing. I learned Chinese for 9 years. I should know this. Anyways, so you can view it as he is progressing. He's basically moving on. Because he's moving to the left, he's progressing to the future, he's moving on in Korean culture, whereas she's going to the right, basically regressing in Korean culture. But the way I see it is that they're both progressing, they're both moving on, because he's moving on in Korean culture, she's moving on in American culture. Because, you know, they've lived in Korea and America for such varying lengths of time. Yeah, that's just how I see it. But she gets upset. Well, not upset. She starts crying in her husband's arms because she's struggling to move on. Which, I guess you could say that he moved off screen, so his moving on is complete, whereas the camera stuck on her. And so it's a bit harder for her to move on. I'm just spitballing. I don't even know if what I'm saying is true. That's just what I think. Anyways. As a movie, I didn't really like it. There was an interesting concept of inyan, where basically it's a Buddhist idea, where the people you meet in past lives, hence the name of the movie, are people that you will later be acquainted with, or vice versa. The people that you are now acquainted with, like, let's say your girlfriend, your boyfriend, husband, wife, those people you used to know in passing in past lives. That's the concept of inyan, and that's why we watched this movie in East Asia Humanities. Yeah, this is another rated R movie, but I watched an edited version, so I don't really know what was in it that warranted an R rating, but who knows? Everybody who's seen this movie knows. So if I were to write a review for this, I don't know what I would say. Oh. I didn't expect that to happen. Alright, I reviewed it. I don't know where to go. Okay, so people give it like 4 stars. People liked it. I am not one of those people. Like 4.2 stars. Yeah, that's... I'm not one of those people. Alright, the next movie on this list is actually the most recent movie that I've logged. Oh, that's should have gone on my watch list. Masters of the Universe. Okay, so I never grew up on He-Man, and that's not the reason why I ranked it so low on Letterboxd. I rated it so low because it's one of the few movies where I walked out of the theater and thought to myself, man, I actually kind of disliked that. Because usually I go into a movie and I find a lot of enjoyment out of it, even if it's like a nothing burger, like a popcorn flick, just something to eat popcorn to and nothing more. What angers me about Masters of the Universe is that it very easily could have been a good movie if they lean. Of course, He-Man in and of itself is a very goofy show from what I understand. Now, granted, I haven't seen it. I haven't grown up on He-Man, so take what I say with a grain of salt. But I feel like it just didn't take itself seriously enough. Now, holy crap, He-Man not taking itself seriously. I can't really explain why, because every example I can think of is probably excused. Well, not excused. It's probably explained in like, well, the original He-Man was very similar, and like, okay. Because one of my biggest issues is that Skeletor he's threatening. He's really threatening in the movie, but sometimes the movie undermines how threatening he is. And I've seen all of those Skeletor Until We Meet Again things like, remember, when a pregnant lady goes swimming, she is technically a submarine. Until we meet again, stuff like that. I've seen those. Skeletor's a goofy guy. He's laying down in that pose that's like, paint me like one of your French ladies or something like that. He's a goofy guy. So the criticisms I have about how this movie didn't take itself seriously is thrown out the window pretty easily. Anyways, one of my biggest problems is that the movie seemingly tried to make you mourn. Man, I forgot what the main character called himself. Man, I forgot. Anyways, basically made you mourn He-Man's father's death, where the only scene that we saw up until the point where Skeletor's army invaded Eternia was his father humiliating him. And that scene was played off as a joke, and for some reason, from that single interaction, we're supposed to feel bad when He-Man and his father have to separate. I did not feel that. I just felt I remember sitting in the theater and thinking to myself, am I really supposed to mourn this man's death? Am I really supposed to mourn the fact that they're separated? Am I really supposed to mourn the fact that he got captured? It just doesn't make sense because from the audience's perspective, He-Man's father is kind of a jerk. If he turned around as he was walking away, then sure, I would have felt something like, oh, deep down he actually cares. It seems like he cares. But no, in that one scene, it was played off as a joke to the detriment of the emotional impact. And it kind of angers me. So yeah, I remember the night I got home from watching He-Man, I got in the shower, like one does, and I just ranted to myself about how much I didn't enjoy the movie, as one does. I will say, I loved the music, and the battle scenes were really fun. Oh, another thing is that everything just felt floaty, and it's such a small thing, it's such a Hollywood thing. Warrior Goddess? I can't remember her actual name, but there's a scene where she shoots a monster off a bridge, and the monster goes flying like through a barricade of the bridge and goes like a few feet away from the bridge before falling, whereas she's holding a massive gun. with zero recoil. That's such a nitpick. I realize it's a nitpick, but it's just things that stack. I don't have example of more things because I saw this movie weeks ago and I've more or less forgotten about it. I will say this is Jared Leto's best performance. I said it. It's his best performance. I loved him as Skeletor. Skeletor was easily my favorite part of this movie. I loved the CGI. I loved his character design. And when he's threatening, he's very effective. And I love it when he's threatening. So yeah, that's what I have to say. Alright. Next, we have a bump up from the... Anyways, we have a bump up from the 1.5 ratings to 2.5. Ash's Purest White. This is another... What is happening? Anyways, this is another movie that I watched in East Asian Humanities class. We watched a few movies for that class. Ash's Purest White. This is one that I actually can't remember a whole lot about. Basically, the main character was in a gang, but after an incident with a gun, she got arrested and is trying to find the original gang leader and basically trying to rebuild her life. It's an interesting journey she goes on. For this lesson, we talked about what was the term that we used? The knight errant, the wandering soldier, the Ronin. Basically a soldier who just goes around and does deeds, good or bad. Think Don Quixote. Just a soldier, a warrior going around. That's basically what this movie is. But it's so weird because towards the end of the movie, there's a UFO. I kid you not, there's a UFO in this movie. It's not explicitly on screen, but it's heavily implied. There's a UFO. And it's so weird. It was an enjoyable movie, but ultimately I don't really remember much from it. It is a Chinese movie. I watched it subbed. So of course it doesn't speak to me as much because I'm not in a gang and I'm not Chinese. So yeah, I don't really have much to say on this movie. Alright, next we have the Super Mario Galaxy movie. Oh gosh, what did I say for this? Let's see. Okay. Super Mario Galaxy movie. It's fun to watch once. It very much is a popcorn flick. It's fun to watch once, especially if you're a Mario fan, and I am a Mario fan. My favorite Mario game is, of course, Super Mario Galaxy, and I will die on that hill. I'm sure plenty of people would. It's a... I don't freaking know, man. If you're wondering, I do not have the first movie logged. I have seen it, but I don't have it logged. The Mario Galaxy movie felt less like a Mario Galaxy movie and more like the Mario movie continued, if you understand what I'm saying. Because of course that's what it is. I do like the inclusion of Bowser Jr. Rosalina is one of my favorite Mario characters, but I feel like the movie did her a disservice because Rosalina would never get herself captured that easily. If I remember correctly, in one of the Mario games, she's outright just in the process of being captured, but like actively fighting against it and showing how powerful she is. Like she just can't get captured. Yeah. Side tangent aside, it's just an entertaining movie. That's all it is. No substance, all style. Yeah, Mr. Game & Watch would never. Rosalina would never. Fun to watch once and never again. Oh yeah, I've seen this on April 17th, by the way. Alright. Batman Returns. Oh gosh, what do I even say about this? I started a Batman marathon because of the launch of Lego Batman Legacy of the Dark Knight. So we started with the what's it called? We started with the Tim Burton movies. But after Batman Returns, we decided to just skip the rest. Because I don't think Tim Burton even directed 3 and 4. And we went straight to the Dark Knight trilogy, and, you know, that was probably the best choice that we could have had. My thing with this movie is that it's just horny. It's really horny. Which, like, I think Batman, I either think of Matt Reeves' detective or Christopher Nolan's action or Adam West goofiness. I don't think horny. That's really my, yeah. Then we have the Mandalorian and Grogu. This is once again... Oh wait, I actually do have a review of this. Nope, wrong button again. Wrong button again. Anyways. Show your activity. There we go. That's what it is. Embo was the best part of this movie. If you don't know who Embo is, he's the bounty hunter with the really cool hat. That's who he is. It's actually a fine movie. It's not like the other 2 out of 5s where I actually disliked it. It's a 2.5 out of 5 in a more positive sense. I don't know if my logic makes sense to you guys. But yeah. I mean, the action is pretty fun. My biggest criticism is that Rada the Hutt is kind of insufferable when you first meet him, because he's just going on and on about how hard it is to be your own man when your father is Jabba the Hutt. Like, we get it, man. You said it 5 times already. Also, it's not like most other Star Wars movies. It's very obviously a spin-off movie. And I say that when Rogue One exists, and Rogue One is the best Disney Star Wars movie that we've gotten. Like, it's better than the sequels. It's better than most Disney TV shows. Heck, I'll say it's better than Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones. I will not say it's better than Revenge of the Sith, because I freaking love that movie. But Rogue One is a fantastic movie. but it's on the same caliber as Solo, which I also didn't rate on Letterboxd. Yeah, it's just it's a fun movie to watch, and I'll probably watch it again, especially if I do another Star Wars marathon. But yeah, we gotta go back to films, sort by highest first. All right, Barbie. Oh gosh, I worked at the movie theater when Barbie came out, which probably attributes to why I gave it a 3 instead of something higher. I will say, this movie's fun. Like, you'd be hard pressed to find another movie that lets you have as much fun as this movie. All the music, Ryan Gosling being Ryan Gosling. It's an amazing movie. My thing is, I worked at the movie theater when it came out, and when everybody came in wearing pink and 80s workout attire, I was too tired and too underpaid to deal with it. And my coworkers started calling everybody else Barbie and Ken, and it drove me insane. That's a horrible reason why it's a 3. There was also, at the time of me watching it, thinking, oh, this is sexist towards men, but I don't really think that anymore. I used to be kind of radicalized back in the day, but now I've just adopted the philosophy of not really caring anymore. So I don't think it's sexist towards anyone. I feel like it does have some political undertones, but I am not politically versed enough to know what those are. So I'm not going to try. I probably will another time. But right now, I don't got much to say. Alright, so that completes the first row. Now let's move on to the second. Alright, these next two, I only rated them because it showed up. You know, when you first get Letterboxd, it shows you a list of movies that you've probably seen. That's the only reason these two are rated. I actually don't really care too much for them. The Hunger Games series I do like because my mother likes them, and I love my mother. So I've seen them a few times, but I don't really have strong opinions of any of them. And when it comes to... That's not Back to the Future, it's I'm gonna write something very cheesy. Alright, we're just gonna move on from those. Up next is Avatar. Are there really 3 Avatar movies? Holy crap. The original Avatar at the time was a technical marvel. I understand that. I appreciate that. It has a decent enough story, but the whole unobtainium thing is pretty stupid. So I'm not going to bother. I do like the whole theme of, nature preservation and that stuff. Yeah, but it's Avatar. What do you really have to say about Avatar? It's a fun movie to watch. It's a visual treat even today in 2026. It's a good movie to watch. With it being among the highest grossing movies of all time, it left such little cultural impact that it's laughably embarrassing. Like, this is the movie that made it. This is the movie that made $1 billion. But man, name one quote from this movie. Also, this wasn't the first Avatar movie. I'm pretty sure it was Way of Water. But I also really love that compressed blue guy meme. That's like... what's a good one? Bird flu. Yeah, they tend to do that. I freaking love those memes. Soul. This is a controversial one, I think, because Soul is undoubtedly a good movie. But my gripe with it is that in the 2020 Academy Awards, it won Best Animated Film over Wolfwalkers. Wolfwalkers is my favorite movie of all time. That's up for debate, but it is up there. I love Wolfwalkers, and so that the fact that Soul overtook it in the Academy Awards, it's just I can't. Spider-Man Homecoming. Why do I have of all movies, why this one? Spider-Man Homecoming, it's fine. I like it. It's Spider-Man. I love Spider-Man. I don't... Why did I rate this one? Why did I rate this one but none of the other Tom Holland Spider-Man movies? I don't think I did. I might have reviewed No Way Home. Anyways, it's a... You can notice I'm kind of getting tired of this, but I'm going to push through. It's because like the 2.5 star, 3 stars, I don't have as much to talk about as opposed to like 4 or 5 stars or even 1.5 stars. It's I don't know. It's a Spider-Man movie. It's an MCU movie. It's a pre-Endgame, pre-Infinity War MCU movie. There's not really a whole lot to write home about, is there? It's fun, but of all of the Spider-Man movies, not just Tom Holland, but like Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire, this is actually one of my least favorite ones. That's probably a hot take, but I don't care. I don't even know what to write for this one. I mean, yeah, it doesn't deal with Uncle Ben's death. What more would you want? Alright, now we bump it up just a little bit to 3.5 stars. When Avengers Endgame came out, I was definitely on the hype train. That was my hyperfixation, the entire MCU. I fell in love with it. I kept up with it for an embarrassingly long amount of time. I lived and breathed the Avengers, the MCU. And Endgame came out, and I thought it was the greatest movie ever. I fell in love with it. I thought it was better than anything I've ever seen before. Notice how it's 2019, and Wolfwalkers hasn't come out yet. Anyways, it's looking back at it, it really is 3 hours where 30 minutes are the big show. Like, it's all building up to that big final fight, and that big final fight is still one of my favorite things in the entire MCU. But everything up until that point is kind of boring. That's kind of why I'm concerned for Avengers Doomsday is Doctor Doom has very little fanfare going up to it. Of course, people love Doctor Doom from the comics, but in the MCU, there's like very little fanfare. I don't know how they're going to handle so many superheroes. I feel like this movie did a pretty good job at giving individual characters and groups of characters some time to shine, and I appreciate it. But the magic did wear off. But still, theater-wise, this is possibly one of the best theater-going experiences I've ever had. I will just say that. Oh, Jojo Rabbit. I love watching movies that are based on the World Wars. Jojo Rabbit is no different. I love its use of satire. But I also love how seriously it takes itself. I feel like the tone shifts when Jojo's mother dies. Spoiler alert for a movie that's 7 years old. Anyways. It's a good movie. I have issues with Taika Waititi, especially after Thor Love and Thunder. But, you know, back then, he was actually really good at what he did. Thor Ragnarok was amazing. Jojo Rabbit was amazing. It's a shame that he's kind of fallen off. Dune. Okay, I love how it's blue this time. When I first watched Dune, I gave it like a 2 out of 10. I did not like it. But very recently, I decided to go back into it with the reveal of the 3rd movie coming out this year. I decided to watch it all over again, and man, it didn't disappoint. I actually loved it a lot more than when I first watched it. Just, I don't know. It just resonated a lot more with me. I was able to appreciate the world building a lot more because at that point I actually had more and more experience in world building than I did when I first watched it. I appreciated all the little details. I remember when I first watched the movie, that scene of the little mouse drinking its own sweat. I thought that was a really nice touch, just explaining the ecology of Arrakis. I thought it was really cool. I think another issue I had when I first watched the movie was that there were just way too many names. Just a whole lot of names. I couldn't keep track of it. Like Atreides, Harkonnen, Arrakis. That doesn't sound like a lot now that I'm saying it out loud, but to me it was just too much. I couldn't handle it. But now I'm able to like connect all of them together. I'm able to appreciate the connections they have. And I think it's just an absolutely stunning movie. Hans Zimmer did a good job with the composition of the film. And yeah, I found a deeper appreciation for it, especially the widescreen moments when the black bars just go away. I love it when movies do that, I swear. I wish I had more time. I can go into deeper detail about all of these movies. Like, I have a lot to say, especially about everything on this top row. Most things on this middle row. And this one, which is conveniently next. I think we'll keep going until Batman Begins. Why not? Secret of Kells. This is by the same people who made Wolfwalkers, and that's a good movie. Oh, I made a video on Cartoon Saloon. They're making a new movie that's coming out soon. What was it? Kindred Spirits. That's what it's called. I made a very short video basically talking about how excited I am from the trailer that we got for the film. That's not coming out until, can't remember if it was next year or 2028, but whatever. The people who are making that made Secret of Kells, they made Wolfwalkers, and they made another movie on this list called Song of the Sea. Secret of Kells, in my opinion, is their weakest one. Their trilogy, the Secret of Kells, Song of the Sea, and Wolfwalkers, they're all part of Irish mythology, and they're done in very beautiful ways. The animation style is a bit rough in this first one, but it really picks up in quality after or with Song of the Sea. But even then, Secret of Kells is a delightful movie to watch. It feels like it's made for children, but it has themes that are a bit harder to grasp or a bit spookier. It is a kind of unsettling movie, partially with its animation style. But it's a darling movie. It's a really good movie to watch. But yeah, I gave it 3.5 stars because it's not on par with the other Cartoon Saloon movies. Sanjuro. Get this. This is another movie from my East Asian Humanities class. But this time, I actually enjoyed it. So, Sanjuro is about a group of samurai trying to but basically protect their one member's uncle, who is like their master essentially. And there's basically a coup. I'm probably explaining this horribly, but there's like a coup staged by a high-ranking official, and now the uncle's in danger of possibly being executed, and they're like, okay, let's go save them. And then this guy, you can't see my mouse, I'll zoom in post-edit, this guy, Sanjuro, basically he comes in, and this is a sequel to Yojimbo? Okay, sorry. He comes in, he's like, you don't have a good idea. And they're like, what? They're going to kill you. What? And so he basically just goes throughout the movie helping them, trying to keep them alive because they're idiots. A bit of history. After World War II, American officials actually blocked certain themes to be portrayed in popular media, and one of those themes were the samurai. So Akira Kurosawa, he actually found a loophole essentially where basically he made the samurai bumbling idiots and made the main samurai, Sanjuro, a more independent individual, not really loyal to any individual. And so that's how he was able to get around those restrictions imposed by the Americans, because Sanjuro is not loyal to anyone, which is the whole point of a samurai. He's a ronin, not a samurai. It's a very interesting movie, and paved the way for Star Wars, according to my teacher. They're not movies. They're films. Alright, the next two are just Batman movies. Alright, Tim Burton's Batman, or as some people know him, Man. Tim Burton's Batman, it's good. I like it. For some reason, Letterboxd ranks it high. Well, I know the reason. It's because of release date. But Letterboxd ranks it higher than Sanjuro. I wouldn't do that. I would definitely put Sanjuro above Batman. But yeah, it's a good movie. My issue is that Batman is not really there. It's mostly just Bruce Wayne. The Joker is effective. Jack Nicholson's Joker is effective. But I also grew up with Heath Ledger's Joker, so it just wasn't there for me. I know this was the first one. I know this was defining for the character, because before this movie, everybody thought of Batman as Adam West. And Adam West is definitely not the Batman we think of nowadays. It's a good movie. It's fun to watch. But it's also slightly horny. I don't know what's up with that. Yeah, I'm just gonna leave the review like that. Alright, not only is this the last movie on this row, it's also the last 3.5 star. Everything after this is 4-star. Or 4.5 or 5. I'm pretty generous when I review movies. Anyways, Batman Begins. It's definitely the weakest when it comes to the Dark Knight trilogy. I don't know, there's just something about superheroes' origin stories that just are kind of uninteresting compared to other adventures they go on. Batman Begins, I feel like, does a good job because I don't know. It doesn't, well, it does dwell, but it's not like, I feel like we get into the Batman stuff pretty quickly when he's, in, I think, Nepal, and he finds the League of Shadows, he finds Ra's al Ghul, however you want to say his name. I feel like it gets into that pretty quickly, and I do enjoy that because I don't like to linger on interesting stuff, though Bruce Wayne's origin story is pretty important to the character. I don't want to watch young Bruce Wayne for 30 minutes. I want to watch Batman for 2 hours. How long is this movie? Okay. It doesn't say. Oh, 140 minutes. That's 2 hours. Anyways. And that's all I'm gonna leave with you today. Let's see. I don't care how this video performs. I'm going to keep doing this. I was thinking of combining all of them into one long video, but I feel like that is just simply too impossible for me to do right now because of how much I have to say about all of these upcoming movies. So we'll see. There will be at most 1, 2, 3, 4 more videos, at least 2. So it might be a trilogy, who knows. Yeah. What I will say is, when you go and watch a movie, please don't let people online dictate what you think of the movie. That will only hinder your movie-going experience, and I'd hate for that to happen. Go into a movie and form your own thoughts and opinions. Go into a movie and just go into a movie with an open mind. And please don't let others dictate what you think. But I guess what I'm trying to say is, don't let influencers dictate how you think of movies. Because if you have an influencer dictate how you think of The Backrooms, they're probably going to go like, where was Kanye West? Where was level 5212? Where was entity 306? What? This was nothing like the Roblox games. Like, dude. Of course it's not like the Roblox games. I don't know. I don't think I'm making a whole lot of sense. Just have an open mind when you watch a movie. I am a big advocate, mostly because I worked there, for going to the movies. I am a huge moviegoer. I love going to the movies. So yeah. Please keep an open mind. And have fun. Because, you know, you're meant to have fun watching movies. Even if it's Masters of the Universe or Past Lives. Movies that I don't particularly enjoy, I still had fun with them. It was fun to practice my Korean just a little bit, and it was fun to watch the fight scenes in Masters of the Universe. And that's all I have to say. Thank you for watching.